computer freezes. You know, when that computer stops responding to anything you want, anything you do. Here are some general tips and tricks that you can actually look for. Basically, when a computer freezes, it's because some code sent it into a loop, and it's kind of looping around in the same thing, and it's not actually taking the time to look at what's happening in the outside world. So it just freezes there. But there are different types of freezes. There's, an app or a program that can freeze, but the rest of the computer can be fine. It could be the computer freezes and there's like nothing you can do, and even the mouse pointer doesn't move. Or it can be kind of in between. The computer is kind of frozen pretty much. Nothing works in Windows or in a program, but your mouse pointer can still move around. It's not always easy to understand what actually makes a computer freeze, but the first thing that you need to actually think about is, was there any changes done to the computer in between the time it worked well and the time that it froze? Is there a new program or a new app installed? Was there an update to a program? Did your antivirus find an update? Did Windows do updates? That's the first thing to think about. Is there anything new, or is something has changed in your computer for it to freeze? If nothing has changed, or if you answer no to pretty much any of those questions, then the second thing that you'll need to check for is to make sure that your computer is well ventilated. Make sure that your laptop or desktop isn't hot, isn't going too warm, because a hot computer can actually freeze quite rapidly. If you have a desktop, make sure that it is well ventilated. Make sure that the fans work. If you have a laptop, make sure that you hear the fans work. Make sure that your computer seems to work normally. If it's freezing and you don't really know why, there are also some hardware problems that can actually make a computer freeze. Bad RAM can sometimes make a computer freeze. It can sometimes make a computer go into the blue screen of death. Is your computer freezing and also having blue screens? That's also an indication that something's wrong. What actually makes your computer freeze also is very important to pin down. Is it freezing randomly, or it's freezing when you do a specific thing? That's very important, because it freezes only when you do a specific thing. Then you can actually pin down what might actually be a problem and what might actually be freezing your computer. For example, if it's freezing every time you're playing a computer game, but never when you do something else, if it's the same game, it could be the game itself. If it's every time you play a game with intense computer graphics, maybe your graphics card is overheating. That is a possibility. Maybe you need to have a better cooling of your computer. Make sure that you have the latest drivers. That's very important. Drivers are the little programs that actually explain to Windows how a computer hardware part works. And they get updated all the time. So if your computer starts freezing when you do something, maybe you need to update your graphic card driver, your network driver, your sound driver. Update everything that you can. To update these drivers, the best bet is to go to the manufacturer's website. If you've got a Dell, a Toshiba, an HP, Acer, or so on, go to that company's website. Make sure you know the model number of your computer and that you're entering it in the support section. There you'll see that in the support section there are drivers for your computer, and that's very important. This is where you'll find updates to these drivers. Basically, drivers are updated because they are either buggy or they are fine, but they update them to have new features that are available as technology moves on. So these are all little things that you can check for. Make sure that anything hasn't changed and try to pin down what actually freezes. On a random freeze, it can get very, very complex, and your computer can't freeze because of hardware malfunction. Another thing that I've seen very often in a computer freezing randomly is a defective hard drive. If your hard drive starts having problems reading sectors on the surface, what's happening is that hard drive of yours tries to read a piece of information, and it tries so many times that your computer seems to freeze up, and then it might unfreeze after a minute or two. So these are all little details that help you pin down what can be a problem. And if it doesn't work, one thing that you can of course try is do a refresh in your computer, or reinstall. A refresh of your PC by removing everything. You click the one that remove everything and reinstall Windows can of course fix a problem of a freezing computer. Scan your computer for viruses, very important. Viruses and malware can very often freeze up your computer and make it really, really work badly. So that's also something that you need to check for. Scan your computer with an antivirus. Scan your computer with malware bytes. So make sure that you don't have any of those malware or viruses on your machine. That also is often a cause of either blue screens or frozen computers. And if you reinstall a fresh copy of Windows and it still freezes, then a problem that might actually be happening is hardware. You might need to have your computer checked by a tech guy, because if you reinstall and with the original install of your computer it still freezes, it means that something in the hardware is going wrong on your computer. So that's also a strong indication of hardware failure. So these are the general tips and tricks that I can give you that you can maybe check and try to pin down slowly what might be going on your computer, and hopefully you'll be able to do something and fix your own frozen computer.